Gerald spent 36 years building his 401k. Every paycheck, every employer match, every year of compound growth. He watched it go from $14,000 in his first year to $380,000 the day he retired. He and his wife Patricia talked about it the way most couples talk about it, over dinner, after the kids had grown up and moved out. "When we're gone," Gerald said, "the kids split it. They don't have to touch it right away. It can just keep growing. They'll be set." Patricia nodded. They had a will. They had beneficiary designations. They had done everything right. Gerald died 14 months ago. Patricia inherited the 401k exactly as planned. She rolled it into her own IRA. That part worked perfectly. But Gerald and Patricia had two adult children, Kevin, who is 44, and Diane, who is 41. And what is about to happen to Kevin and Diane is not what Gerald promised them over dinner. It is not what the financial advisor told them to expect. It is not what most Americans who inherited retirement accounts before 2020 ever experienced. Because in December 2019, while most Americans were focused on other things, Congress passed a law that fundamentally changed what your children can do with your 401k after you die. It is called the Secure Act, and buried inside it, on page 47, is a provision that has been called, by some of the most respected tax professionals in the country, a tax bomb in disguise. I am going to spend the next 28 minutes showing you exactly what this law does, the math behind what Kevin and Diane are now required to do with their inheritance, the taxes they will be forced to pay. That did not exist 5 years ago, and the 3 legal strategies that can reduce or eliminate that tax burden completely, if and only if Gerald had known about this while he was still alive. Stay with me, because if you have a 401k or a traditional IRA and you have adult children, this video is the most important financial information you will watch this year. To understand how serious this is, I need to show you what used to be possible before December 31st, 2019. Before the Secure Act, when a non-spouse inherited a traditional IRA or 401k, they could do something called stretching the distributions. Here is what that meant. Gerald's son, Kevin, inherits Gerald's $380,000 traditional 401k. Under the old rules, Kevin was not forced to take the money out quickly. He could take required minimum distributions based on his own life expectancy at age 44, roughly 40 more years. Year 1, RMD, roughly $9,500. Year 2, RMD, slightly more. Year 3, RMD, slightly more still. Small withdrawals, spread over 40 years. Most of the account keeps growing, tax-deferred, for 4 more decades. At a conservative 7% annual growth, that $380,000 stretched over Kevin's lifetime becomes approximately $2.1 million. Kevin pays taxes on small withdrawals each year, manageable amounts, never pushed into a high bracket. The IRS gets their money eventually. Kevin builds generational wealth. Gerald's 36 years of saving, multiplied across 2 more generations. That was the promise. Congress eliminated it. The new reality, the 10-year rule. For IRAs inherited from the original owners who passed away on or after January 1st, 2020, the law requires that most beneficiaries must empty the account by the end of the 10th year following the year of the account owner's death. Not 40 years, not Kevin's lifetime, 10 years. And if Gerald had already started taking required minimum distributions before he died, which he had, Kevin must also take annual RMDs during those 10 years and empty the account completely by year 10. Let me show you what this means for Kevin in real numbers. Kevin is 44 years old. He is a high school principal in Columbus, Ohio. His salary, $94,000 per year. He inherits Patricia's inherited IRA when Patricia eventually passes, with a balance of approximately $420,000. The account grew from $380,000 while Patricia held it. Under the 10-year rule, Kevin must withdraw all $420,000 by the end of year 10. Kevin is smart. He spreads it evenly. $42,000 per year for 10 years. Seems manageable, right? Watch what happens to Kevin's taxes. Kevin's current taxable income, $94,000. Kevin's 2026 tax bracket, 22%. He is paying 22 cents on every dollar between $48,475 and $103,350. Now he adds $42,000 of inherited IRA withdrawals. Kevin's new taxable income, $136,000. He has crossed into the 24% bracket. The $42,000 withdrawal, every single dollar of it is taxed as ordinary income. Not capital gains, not a special inherited rate. Ordinary income. At his highest marginal rate, federal tax on that withdrawal alone, $10,080 per year. Ohio state income tax on that withdrawal, $2,512 per year. Total tax on Kevin's annual withdrawal, $11,092. For 10 straight years. Total tax Kevin pays on Gerald's retirement savings, $115,120, almost $116,000. On money Gerald saved for 36 years. On money the employer matched. On money that grew tax-deferred specifically so it could be passed to the next generation. Before 2020, deceased owners of traditional IRAs could leave their accounts to their kids, grandkids, or other non-spousal individual beneficiaries, and the heirs could stretch required minimum distributions over their own lifetimes, allowing the funds in the accounts to grow tax-free for decades. Congress saw this as a loophole and curtailed the break in the 2019 Secure Act legislation. A loophole: 36 years of Gerald's discipline, 36 years of living below their means, 36 years of trusting the system, called a loophole, and closed. Now here is the part that makes this even worse. Kevin is 44 now. He will be 54 when the 10-year clock runs out. At 54, Kevin is at the peak of his career. His salary will likely be higher than $94,000. He may have bonuses. His spouse may be working. They may have investment income. Every dollar of that $42,000 annual withdrawal lands on top of his highest career income, taxed at his highest career rate. If your child earns $120,000 per year and inherits a $1 million traditional IRA, they have just 10 years to withdraw it. Even spreading it evenly means an extra $100,000 in taxable income per year, enough to move them into a much higher bracket. This is not an accident. This is the design. Before I show you the 3 strategies, you need to know that not everyone is subject to the 10-year rule. There are specific exceptions. The 10-year rule applies to most non-spouse beneficiaries. But there are 5 categories of people called eligible designated beneficiaries who are still allowed to stretch distributions over their own life expectancy. Exception 1, the surviving spouse. If your spouse inherits your 401k, they are not subject to the 10-year rule. They can roll it into their own IRA. Take distributions based on their own timeline. Defer taxes for as long as legally allowed. Patricia inherited Gerald's 401k as a surviving spouse. She had full flexibility, no 10-year clock. Exception 2, minor children. If your child is under 21 years old when they inherit your account, the 10-year clock does not start until they turn 21. But note, this exception is for minor children, not grandchildren, and the 10-year clock still starts at age 21. Kevin and Diane are 44 and 41. They do not qualify for this exception. Exception 3, disabled beneficiaries. If the beneficiary is legally disabled at the time of inheritance, they may stretch distributions over their own life expectancy. Exception 4, chronically ill beneficiaries. Similar rules apply to those who are chronically ill as defined by federal law. Exception 5, beneficiaries within 10 years of age. If the beneficiary is less than 10 years younger than the original account owner, they qualify for the stretch. Gerald was 68. His brother Raymond is 62. Raymond is 6 years younger, within 10 years. Raymond could inherit and stretch. Kevin is 44, 24 years younger than Gerald. Does not qualify. Diane is 41, 27 years younger. Does not qualify. For the vast majority of American families, adult children, grandchildren, siblings, the 10-year rule applies. The exceptions exist. Most families do not fall into them. Now let me show you the 3 strategies that change everything. Strategy number 1, the Roth conversion. This is the most powerful strategy, and it must be done while the account owner is still alive. Here is the plain English version. Gerald has $380,000 in a traditional 401k. Every dollar in that account will be taxed as ordinary income when Kevin or Diane withdraws it, whether that happens under the old rules or the new 10-year rule. But what if Gerald converted that account to a Roth IRA while he was still alive? Gerald pays the tax now, at his retirement tax rate, which is likely lower than Kevin's peak career rate. The account moves to Roth. It grows tax-free. When Gerald dies, Kevin and Diane inherit a Roth IRA. They are still subject to the 10-year rule. They must still empty the account in 10 years. But here is the critical difference. Roth IRA withdrawals are tax-free. Kevin withdraws $42,000 per year for 10 years. Federal tax on those withdrawals, $0. Ohio state tax, $0. The same for $20,000. The same 10 years, the same withdrawal schedule. $115,920 difference, simply because Gerald converted the traditional account to Roth before he died. Now, Roth conversions require careful planning. Gerald would pay tax on the converted amount in the year of conversion. Converting $380,000 all at once would push Gerald into the highest tax brackets. The strategy: convert gradually, $30,000 to $50,000 per year over 5 to 7 years, staying within the 22% or 24% bracket, filling the bracket efficiently without triggering IRA. Gerald and Patricia, if they had started this at age 62, could have converted the entire account by age 68 or 69 at a combined tax cost of roughly $76,000 to $95,000. Versus the $115,920 Kevin and Diane will pay under the 10-year rule at peak career income rates. And the Roth keeps growing tax-free. For Gerald and Patricia during their lifetimes, for Kevin and Diane during their 10 years. That is strategy number 1. Strategy number 2, strategic distribution planning for beneficiaries. This strategy is for the families where the conversion did not happen, where the account owner has already died, and the beneficiary is now facing the 10-year clock. Most beneficiaries make the same devastating mistake. They do nothing for 9 years and then take everything out in year 10. Kevin ignores the account. It grows from $420,000 to $826,000 over 9 years at 7%. In year 10, Kevin must withdraw $826,000 in a single year. That $826,000 added to Kevin's salary of $110,000 by then. Total income, $936,000. Kevin is now in the 37% tax bracket. Federal tax on the $826,000 alone, $305,620, $305,000 in a single tax year, on a single event, because Kevin waited. The fix: take withdrawals every year, spread the income, manage the brackets. Many beneficiaries subject to the 10-year rule are best served by spreading the income from their inherited accounts out over as many years as possible, in an effort to avoid a much larger spike in income and tax rate in a future year. Work with a tax professional to model the optimal annual withdrawal amount based on Kevin's projected income in each of the 10 years. In lower income years, take more. In higher income years, take less. Always stay below the next bracket threshold. This alone, smart distribution timing, can reduce Kevin's total tax bill from $115,920 to $78,000 to $90,000. A $25,000 to $37,000 reduction simply by timing the withdrawals correctly. That is strategy number 2. Strategy number 3, the charitable remainder trust. This strategy is for families with larger retirement accounts, $500,000 or more, and a charitable component to their estate plan. Here is how it works. Instead of naming Kevin and Diane directly as beneficiaries, Gerald names a charitable remainder trust as the beneficiary of his 401k. When Gerald dies, the 401k passes to the trust, not directly to Kevin and Diane. The trust is tax-exempt. It does not pay income tax on the inherited funds. The trust then pays Kevin and Diane an income stream for a defined period, usually 20 years, at a fixed percentage of the trust assets. When the term ends, the remaining balance goes to a charity Gerald and Patricia designated. What does this accomplish? The trust absorbs the 401k without the immediate 10-year forced liquidation. Kevin and Diane receive a steady income stream over 20 years, not a compressed 10-year forced withdrawal. The income is spread more favorably, potentially at lower marginal rates, and the charitable remainder offsets estate tax exposure. This strategy is complex. It requires an estate planning attorney. It is not right for every family. But for families with accounts above $500,000, with a charitable intention, this can save $80,000 to $200,000 in income taxes on the inherited account. I want to be direct now. Gerald was not careless. Gerald was not naive. Gerald worked with a financial advisor for 20 years. But there are 4 specific things that Gerald's advisor never explained, that most financial advisors still do not explain because they are complex, because they are uncomfortable, and because most advisors are not tax specialists. Thing 1. The Secure Act changed the rules in 2019. Most clients who set up their beneficiary designations before 2020 did so under the old stretch rules. Those rules no longer exist for adult children. If your beneficiary designations were set before 2020 and you have not reviewed them since, you need to review them this week, not this month. This week, Thing 2, the beneficiary designation is more powerful than your will. Gerald's will said, split everything equally between Kevin and Diane. The 401k beneficiary form said the same. But if that form had said something different, if there had been an ex-wife listed, if there had been a charity named, the will would have been irrelevant. The beneficiary designation wins. Every time. Review your beneficiary designations. Log in to your 401k portal today. Look at the name. Thing 3, a Roth conversion takes time. The most powerful strategy, converting to Roth, takes 5 to 7 years to execute properly. If Gerald had known about the Secure Act in 2020, at age 62, he had 6 years to convert. He waited. He did not know. If you are reading this at 60 days, you have time. If you are reading this at 68, you have less time. But some conversion is better than none. If you are reading this at 75, the conversion window is narrowing. The time to start is not when the diagnosis comes. The time to start is now. Thing 4, your kids do not know about this either. Kevin and Diane had no idea that the inheritance they expected, the inheritance Gerald promised over dinner, had changed in 2019. They did not know about the 10-year rule. They did not know about the tax calculation. They did not know that year 10 could mean a $300,000 tax bill in a single calendar year. The most valuable thing you can do after watching this video is share it with your adult children, not to frighten them, to prepare them so they know about the 10-year clock before it starts, so they can plan their withdrawals, so they can manage their brackets, so they can work with a tax professional in year 1, not year 9. Let me show you 2 versions of Gerald and Patricia. Traditional 401k at death, $380,000. Patricia inherits, rolls to own IRA, grows to $420,000. Kevin inherits under 10-year rule, withdraws $42,000 year for 10 years. Federal plus state tax on withdrawals, $115,120. Kevin's net inheritance after tax, $304,080. Diane's share, $152,040 net. Total family tax paid on Gerald's savings, $115,920. Gerald's 36 years of saving, net to family, $304,080. Began Roth conversions at age 62. Converted $50,000 a year for 7 years. Paid tax during conversion, $84,000 total. Traditional 401k balance at death, $35,000 remaining Roth IRA balance at death, $390,000 after growth. Patricia inherits Roth, rolls to own Roth IRA. Kevin and Diane inherit Roth IRA, subject to 10-year rule, but withdrawals are tax-free. Kevin withdraws $42,000 a year for 10 years, $0 federal tax. Diane withdraws $42,000 a year for 10 years, $0 federal tax. Total family tax paid on Gerald's savings, $84,000 during conversion. Gerald's 36 years of saving, net to family, $420,000. No strategy, tax paid, $115,920. Family keeps, $304,280. With strategy, tax paid, $84,000. Family keeps, $420,000. On $15,920 more. For Kevin and Diane, for their children. For the generation after that, same 401k, same 36 years of saving, same IRS. One conversation, at age 62. With the right advisor. 4 windows. All closing. Window 1, the conversion window. Roth conversions require healthy taxable income and manageable bracket room. A year with high medical costs, a serious diagnosis, a forced early retirement can make the conversion math worse or impossible. Window 2, the cognitive capacity window. Making a Roth conversion, restructuring a beneficiary designation, creating a charitable remainder trust, all require legal capacity. Cognitive decline closes this window permanently. Window 3, the beneficiary update window. Your 401k beneficiary form can be updated today, online, for free, in 8 minutes. This window is open right now. It closes the moment you die. Window 4, the child planning window. Kevin and Diane, now that they know about the 10-year rule, can plan their withdrawals strategically. But they needed to know at the beginning of the 10-year clock, not in year 9. If your children do not know about this rule, they are already losing money. The Secure Act passed in 2019. It is now 2026. 7 years of families inheriting 401ks and traditional IRAs under rules that changed, that their parents never knew changed, that their financial advisors never explained. Paying taxes they did not have to pay, on money their parents saved for decades, because nobody handed them a single page that explained what Congress changed on page 47 of a bill passed in December 2019. You now have that page. Use it. 3 things before you close this video. 1. Save this video tonight. When Patricia eventually passes, when Kevin inherits, when the 10-year clock starts, this video is Kevin's instruction manual. Save it. Share it with your children. Tonight. 2. Go to the comments right now and tell me 2 things. Roughly how much is in your traditional 401k or IRA? And do your adult children know about the 10-year rule? I read every comment. Your answer shapes the next video in this series. 3. Log into your 401k portal this week. Look at your beneficiary designation. Look at the name. If it is not current, update it before you do anything else. 8 minutes. Free. Today, Gerald built $380,000 over 36 years. He did not know that a law passed in 2019 would hand $115,920 of it to the IRS instead of Kevin and Diane. Now you know. There are 3 strategies. Each one works. Each one requires starting now, not when the diagnosis comes, not when the will is being read. Now, I will see you in the next video.